Episode 3 just dropped some wild clues that hint that the Mule is Harry Seldon, foreshadow Demerzel's death, and how the robots might be manipulating the galaxy as we know it. If you're new to these videos, this is a deep dive into the episode that skips the recap and gets right into all the theories, clues, and mysteries the show has to offer. There will be no book spoilers, everything here is based off sleuthing from the show, and I've left timestamps below so you can see all the topics I'll be covering. And before we begin, make sure to like the video and leave your own theories in the comments, and if I can, I'll try to address the most liked theory in my next video. As we get further along in the season, the more likely I think the Mule is Harry Seldon, or at least deeply connected to him in ways we don't know. And episode 303 gives us some new clues that support this. Multiple times, the Mule brings up this idea of determinism, that everything is meant to work out a certain way.
Things have a way of working out how they're meant to.
He emphasizes the word ordained, which means decided by fate.
Ordained. That's the word, Vandal.
Furthermore, take a look at the title of this episode, When a Book Finds You, a reference to Cleon the 25th asking for Calais' 9th proof of folding, a book that will get him into contact with Gaal Dornick. All of these are examples of a greater power pulling the strings of some great cosmic plan. Demerzel refers to this as a shadow changing the math.
Something has been casting shadows in the math for years.
This ties closely to Harry Seldon's ideas on psychohistory, which dictates that the future can be predicted not because it's predetermined by a god, rather a complex mathematical equation that takes into account vast amounts of data to predict it. Now, the Mule can't help but feel he doesn't have control over his life.
Do you ever feel like your life is not your own? Like it's been overtaken by some Holy Spirit?
I believe this Holy Spirit is Harry Seldon, and I want to look at one compelling piece of evidence that supports this. In episode 302, we learned that Harry left for Una's world with Calais. This event occurred 4 years before the Mule's takeover of Calgon. This is an important piece of information, as we don't really know what happened to both Harry and the Mule during this time, just that the Mule kinda came out of nowhere 4 years after Harry's disappearance. The Mule stating that he feels like his life's been overtaken suggests someone or something is controlling him. I think something happened in those last 4 years that put Harry in control of the Mule, or at least partially. This ties into the mystery of Calais and Una's world. In Season 2, Una's world is where the digital form of Harry Seldon was given a physical body. Since Gaal was denied access into Calais' hideout, we never saw how this was possible, nor what scientific miracles this woman holds. Last episode, we saw Harry amazed at how Calais could transport him across the galaxy without the use of spacers or jump drives. So just the technical advancement of what Calais is in possession of makes it totally possible Harry is connected to the Mule in ways we can't understand. In my last video, I theorized that Calais might be a robot. We do see this kind of Terminator-like glow in her eye when she opens the portal. This episode continues the spotlight on robots with the introduction of a new religion called the Inheritance, a religion that believes that one day an artificial being, aka robot, will return to remove all cruelty, injustice, and misery from the world. Brother Day's consort, Song, just so happens to be a part of this religion, which has been banned and operating in the shadows for millennia. In episode 301, I theorized that the writers were setting up one of two things to happen to this character. She would either die or betray Brother Day. Turns out she kinda did both. Her memory ends up being wiped by Demerzel, which in itself is a type of death as it means she no longer has any memory of her relationship with Brother Day. Song also betrayed Brother Day by disclosing to Demerzel via this gesture that she knew she was a robot. This is one of the biggest secrets in the entire universe, of which only the Cleons know about. Remember that the robots were said to have been completely wiped out after the end of the Robot Wars.
There are no robots. They're eradicated.
Song's memory wipe will no doubt propel Brother Day's story going forward. We already know he planned to escape the palace grounds with the help of Commander Maven, giving his nanite healing technology in exchange. If he does intend on giving this tech up, it will make him much more susceptible to death. In the trailer, it looks as though Day continues this plan in an effort to find Song, who Demerzel said was taken back to her home on level 88. We have to ask ourselves, was Demerzel telling the truth? and it looks like Day is off to find out for himself. He's dressed in a Claviger uniform which Maven said they'd use as a disguise, but look at this other soldier Day ends up killing. Could it be Maven? And if so, did Demerzel get to him, or is Day refusing to give up his nanite tech? It looks as though Day will wind up meeting this religious group, as we'll see him fighting these characters dressed in ceremonial attire. And of course, members of the Inheritance would be hostile towards the Cleons, since the genetic dynasty props up a system that is anti-robot. Meanwhile, we learn of Brother Dawn's secret alliance with Gaal Dornick. It started 3 years ago when his search into psychohistory brought him into contact with her. The two have similar goals: to prevent this takeover by the Mule. Dawn has to keep these meetings a secret from Demerzel, as her programming places the safety of the genetic dynasty above that of humanity's. But what good is a ruling dynasty if there is no one to rule? We can assume the two continue to talk over these 3 years until the Mule finally reveals himself on Calgon. Now, Dawn finds himself in a difficult position of trying to contain the Mule while preventing a war with Foundation and inner conflicts between the Empire, his brothers, and Demerzel. One interesting bit of information Gaal learns is that Harry Seldon gave Demerzel the Prime Radiant. In the future, we'll also see Gaal teaming up with Demerzel, but also at each other's throats, literally, so expect a lot of tension between these two. We'll also see that Dawn will eventually be captured by the Mule, which can't be a good thing at all, especially considering the Mule's ability to control minds. I mean, if he can take over one of the Cleons, that's going to give him a tremendous amount of power. It's also likely that Brother Dawn is now in full control of the Novacula, and if the Mule controls Brother Dawn, this could have catastrophic consequences for the entire galaxy. Dawn offers to give the Mule access to the Empire's trade routes and jump gates in exchange for the Empire's control over Calgon's navy. This is an offer the Mule rejects, and as we'll see in the next scene, he and his band of pirates have commandeered their own Imperial jump gate. But just where exactly does the Mule plan to go next? With Toran and Bayta escaping the Mule's grasp with his coveted Balladeer Magnifico Giganticus, love the name, I think we know where the Mule is headed next. Toran Mallow has deep ties to the Foundation, being a descendant of Hober Mallow, thus he's probably off to New Terminus. The trailers are filled with scenes depicting Toran and Bayta on this planet that is under attack. We'll even see the Mule in front of Mayor Inber. While he may be looking for his Balladeer, there's an even greater reason for wanting to go to New Terminus, and that's Harry Seldon. We already know that Harry is set to reveal himself from the vault in a few days' time, and that will likely coincide with the Mule's arrival. In fact, we'll see the two of them together. This seems to be a stepping stone so the Mule can get to his real target, Gaal Dornick. Since Season 2, we know she's been in his crosshairs, however his motivations finding her are shrouded in mystery. Considering Gaal may be the only one to stop him, it would make sense for him to seek her out and eliminate her. There was also this odd interaction between Han Pritcher and the Mule, which sees the Mule dive into his mind, asking him,
Who is Gaal Dornick?
As of yet, we haven't seen Han and Gaal together, but Han has her necklace. Judging by the trailers, we'll get an episode that shows their romantic history, which seems to take place in the years after Harry left for Una's world. What I want to know is how much the Mule can control his victims. For example, now that he's gained access to Han, can he control him light years away, or perhaps implant him with ideas that could change the course of the story? Will Han become a sort of Manchurian candidate, just waiting for the right time to attack Gaal? Can the Mule access all of Han's memories? And as I was going through the trailers again, I saw this image of a damaged ship landing on what might be Haven, the stronghold of the Alliance of Traitors. This looks to be Toran and Bayta's ship, which would suggest they're making their way to Toran's uncle Randu, who we met in episode 1. This brings me to the Balladeer. This is a sort of court jester type character providing entertainment in the form of this instrument called the Visisonar. It simultaneously plays music, entrancing its subjects with holographic images. Magnifico seems to be more of a slave to the Mule than anything. When Bayta touches him, he flinches, suggesting years of abuse, and he's quick to make an escape to get out of the Mule's grasp. But that doesn't mean Magnifico is necessarily a good guy. He could be fully under the Mule's control like the Archduke's daughter, and merely playing a role in order to infiltrate the Foundation. Jester characters are usually tricksters, so be sure to keep an eye on that. With the Mule Mule becoming the main antagonist, it allows the writers to inject the Cleons with more empathy and humanity. It started subtly with Brother Day's character in episodes 1 and 2, but this whole scene where the three Cleons drink and laugh together made me really feel like these are real humans we can relate to, a stark contrast to the authoritarian tyrant Cleons of earlier seasons. This sudden shift toward empathy usually foreshadows something tragic, and if we look at the trailers, we'll see these guys go through some truly terrifying stuff as the season progresses. I want to pay particular attention to this shot of Brother Day. Notice the gold mustard liquid on his shirt and body. I wonder if this is the blood of Demerzel. In episode 301, Demerzel made a note to Zephyr Varellis that the colors of the fruit tree are this golden hue due to the blood of the robots feeding the soil. It also looks like we'll see the destruction of the Clarion Station, the seat of the Galactic Council. This might have been done by the Navacula. Both the Mule and Brother Dawn have motive to get rid of the Council, but this seems a little excessive for Dawn to undertake. All of this is to say there are a lot of moving pieces this season that could take the show in many new and interesting ways. But now I turn it over to you. What do you think will happen next, and what theories interest you the most? I want to hear them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.